Good afternoon, everyone. Today is a really big day for me personally and for the office. We have a big launch. We're launching my book, my second book today. It's called The American Dream on Trial. 10 ways to fight for your client's American dream, removal proceedings. And truthfully, this book has been in the works for a very long time. We have worked tirelessly to put it together. We have worked with a lot of publishers to get it done. So, if you are a non US citizen in America and terrified that a criminal charge could shatter your American dream, just take a breath. You're not alone. In my practice, I represent a lot of people with criminal backgrounds. And the the problem now these days in this administration is they don't even wait for a conviction anymore. You all you have to do is just get arrested and you'll end up in removal proceedings. This book, I know it's written for attorneys, but it could also help you as an immigrant to try to see if you can help yourself by reading it. It's on special right now on a launch special for 99 cents. If you go on if you go on Amazon and you just Google my name and American Dream on Trial, you will be able to find it. If you have never seen me talk and on one of our lives, my name is Ahmad Yakzan. I'm an immigration attorney, and every single day I see how one arrest, even something minor, can threaten a family's future. As I said earlier, these days, uh, an arrest. I just heard someone in Minnesota where they um, detained someone and the family lost their jobs, they lost their home, they lost everything just because they were arrested. Um, so I live this every day. Unfortunately, I would rather be doing uh, things like applying for benefits applications for my clients, but unfortunately, our removal practice has exploded in the last year and a half or so. So we live this in my office every single day. And if you know anyone who has been arrested and they don't have any status, I tell people never ever lose hope to stay here in the United States. So it's a roadmap for attorneys to defend their clients and make sure that their clients are not in hot water if they are immigrants or non-U.S. citizens. Because even as a green card holder, you can actually have a problem if you are arrested. So this is a very personal thing to me. I was just interviewed by a reporter and it was about H-1B visas and she was asking me why do you love doing immigration, and we were speaking about H-1B visas. I told her I have lived every single part of the immigration process myself. I came here to the United States as a student visa on a student visa, and then got my H-1B at a time when H-1Bs were rolling year to year, and then before that, I graduated with 4 degrees, three of them master's degrees, and one doctorate. And what what we are um, experiencing these days is just crazy. I've never thought that it would be this crazy. But immigration law and the law itself is a maze. You don't have just a single shortcut that you can actually go on and be okay. Especially immigration law. I remember about 10 years ago, I read a quote from someone who worked for the government, and that person said that immigration lawyers are worth their weight in gold. Uh, I know I'm studying for my certification exam right now, and I'm taking it on Thursday and Friday, and there are so many nuances for immigration law that you have to know about, and if you don't know about some things, you're going to run into issues, and that's why I wrote this book. A lot of lawyers, a lot of immigration lawyers in the last 4 years under the Biden administration um, did a lot of benefits applications, including myself. And then when the Trump administration came in January of 2025, it's as if our whole life has changed um, because of the things that we've been doing. Knowing how to do a removal defense these days is bread and butter for a lot of us. So that is the reason why I wrote this book. The book gives you a roadmap on how to defend people in immigration removal proceedings. Um, it's it's it gives you 10 powerful things to use to have in your quiver when you're defending someone in immigration court, and if you need to go to federal court, you go to federal court to help your clients. So what's the biggest highlights out of the book? You might be thinking. The first major problem that you run into is what's called crimmigration, and crimmigration is a term that a lot of attorneys use to describe the intersection between criminal law and immigration law. And crimmigration allows you to analyze whether something is going to have some sort of effect on your client's case if you end up taking a plea from from a charge, meaning that if you are a criminal defense attorney and your client is in hot waters with a criminal case, a criminal charge, you literally have to, after 2014, when the Supreme Court ruled in Padilla v. Kentucky, that you have to, as a criminal attorney, you have to tell your client about the immigration consequences of the plea. Your job has become much more difficult, and as I said earlier, like a maze. You don't only have to know what the criminal law says, you have to know what the immigration law says. And I honestly don't want to know anything other than immigration law. As I said, it's a lot of work to just know one kind of law. But now the Supreme Court said, well, you have to know um, more about immigration that you probably ever wanted. So if you are a criminal attorney and you want to help yourself to keep your client in immigration in immigration safe zones, you need to read this book. So under the U.S. immigration law, certain convictions can make your client inadmissible, and certain convictions make your client deportable from the United States. And what does that mean? It means that if your client is inadmissible, they can't come into the United States, and every time they're trying to go from one level to the other, they have to prove their admissibility. And if you don't prove your admissibility, you don't qualify for it. For example, someone going from a B1 B2 visa to an H1B, and they have a criminal charge, that will affect that upgrade that they would have when applying for benefits in the United States. So that even though they're in the United States, they still have to prove that they're admissible to that second level. Deportability means, well, he's admissible and everything, but he did something that is going to have us allow the government to kick him out of the country, which is a deportability issue. So the government has certain things that they label crimes as. For example, they label crimes as a crime involving moral turpitude, for example, or a drug conviction or controlled substance conviction is what they use, or an aggravated felony. So there are certain things in the law that make that make that makes certain crimes actually on a higher level, and those aggravated felonies will stop you from getting anything, pretty much any sort of relief uh, from from immigration or removal proceedings. So you have, as a criminal attorney, you have to worry about it. Worry about what the classification is, because if it is a CIMT, you have to look at how many does CMTs does your client have, for example, or how many aggravated felonies does your client have, and if that criminal conviction that you're making your client plead to uh, ends up being a CIMT or an aggravated felony, you're going to be in trouble as a criminal defense attorney. And in Florida, that will allow your client to apply for what's called a Rule 3850, 3850 motion to reopen the criminal plea, because you didn't give them the consequences of that plea. So the book literally talks about those classifications um, and how you can keep your client here in the United States by taking a plea that's different. Um, I am actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you all to be able to order the Kindle version of the book. And what I will do is, if you order the Kindle version of the book, you can download it on your phone and read it anytime you want. And we're coming out with the paperback very soon. If you want to order that, just go ahead and order it. The thing that you need to think about is, with the paperback, you're going to get a lot of freebies. I know it's going to be more than 99 cents, but you're going to get a lot of freebies. So I am going to I just put that in the chat. If you want to order the book on Kindle, that's the link, and the paperback is going to be up in a couple of weeks. So if you want to order the book and start reading it right now on the Kindle version, and then when the paperback comes out, I have a special website just for that book, for you to download freebies if you're interested. Um, so what legal strategies do I talk about in the book? The strategy number one is the pre-plea immigration consequences analysis. So what does that mean? If you have an immigrant client who's here in the United States, and you are applying, you are trying to take a plea for that client. Remember, 99% of criminal cases get done at the plea stage. So you don't go to trial a lot in a criminal case. So it either gets dismissed or you go to trial. But I apologize. Either it gets dismissed or you take a plea to get out of hot water in the criminal cases. So what do you have to think about when you are a criminal attorney? um, what I would start saying is, from day one, you ask your client if they are actually um, if you are actually thinking about what the consequences would be. You have to think from that first stage, from the intake, that if they actually have a charge, and you have to ask whether they're U.S. citizens or not from the beginning, to see if they're going to be in hot water if you take a plea, and you have to ask them if they're U.S. citizens or not. So you have to think about that from the beginning, because down the road you either have to hire a you either have to hire an immigration attorney or study the case yourself to see if your client will have any sort of problem if you take a plea. So that's what the analysis has to start at. The strategy number two, negotiating an immigration safe plea. What I mean by that is if you are the criminal attorney and you want to make sure that you do something for your client, that again you have to think about in the long term. And one of the things that the Supreme Court said in Padilla is you as the criminal attorney either has to learn immigration law or send them to an immigration attorney to tell them about the consequences. And as I said earlier, you probably don't want to learn immigration law because it's very convoluted. But if you do want to go in and have them go speak to another attorney about the consequences, you have to have, and I do this all the time, you have to speak to the immigration attorney and have them tell you whether the plea that they are thinking about giving you, the government is thinking about giving you, is good for your client or not. And what I mean by that is the government giving you something that's going to be the kiss of death when it comes to your client's status? Meaning, is it an aggravated felony? Is it a trafficking offense? Is it a something that is going to stop all types of relief for your client in immigration court? Because that happens under a plea. I know someone, I'm representing someone right now who took a plea for a fraudulent ID, and that might be a problem for her when it comes to immigration. So that is the issue. That the criminal attorney didn't think about that before she took the plea. So that would, if you hire an attorney or you yourself do the analysis, you'll be able to stop that from happening to you. Things like the client filing a post-conviction motion against you. What is post-conviction relief? That's something that you probably want to do if you did have a bad plea. And when Padilla came out, a lot of people were saying, well, it's retroactive. You have to go back to when the plea was done and retroactively apply Padilla. And the Supreme Court said no, it's not retroactive. So you have to worry. You have to try to get another way to actually get that plea thrown out. I am saying all of this because I am telling you, it's very hard to figure all of these things out. So if you are a criminal attorney and you need to buy my book, that's number one. And there's also another book that you need to buy that if you want to email me, I'll be more than happy to give it to you. But if you are a criminal attorney and you're trying to help your clients, this book is a must. And if you are an immigrant who's in a criminal case, buy the book and give it to your criminal attorney to actually read it, and make sure that they read the book before you actually take the plea. So I'm not going to give away the whole cow today. I'm not going to discuss all 10 of the strategies that I have in the book. There are other things that were that I discussed in there, like cancellation or removal, going to federal court, suing the government on a stalled case, visas for victims of crimes like QT and VAWA cases. But as I told you earlier, things can get complicated very quickly in immigration, and you need to be proactive, because I know how precious the American dream is, and unfortunately we all make mistakes. No one is perfect, and if you make a mistake as an immigrant these days, it could land you in removal proceedings, and trust me, you don't want to be in removal proceedings these days. So you need to be clear-eyed from the beginning and make sure that you have everything in line for you not to take the wrong step. You need to make sure that that plea that you're taking is actually the correct one to take. If this is helping you, I need you to subscribe to my YouTube channels. I need you to watch my videos. I go live almost every day, so if you wanna do that, I would really appreciate it. Um, I'm looking for few hours on YouTube. So if you can go, I have more than 400 uh, videos on YouTube. So if you want to go listen to the things that I talk about, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go follow us on TikTok and Facebook. Every single week we put um, more and more videos on there and resources for you to read. And if you want to reach me, the phone number is 888-963-7326. You can also go to adlo.law and reach us. We're running a special these days on consultations if you want to call me. Um, but if this is helping you, these strategies are helping you, come because they come directly from my experience as explained in the book, and the American Dream on Trial. And it's built, the book, it's built to empower both a non-citizen and their attorneys to fight for their American dream. And I really hope you guys enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it. Um, and if you are a law student interested in becoming an immigration attorney after graduating, please order the book. And if you can't afford it, call me and I'll see what I can do. But thank you guys so much. This is a huge day for me. Um, I know I put a lot of effort into this and a lot of geekness into this book. And if you want to read it, I'll be honored. And as I said, there are special freebies for us for you to get when the paperback is released. Stay tuned for that. Thank you so much um, for joining me today to talk about my book. And if you need anything, I'm here. We're open 24/7. Give me a call and I'll be more than happy to help. You guys take care. We'll probably be live tomorrow on TikTok. I think we were live on TikTok today.